Hi there. Today we are going to take a road trip through time and learn about the history of Freud and psychoanalysis and its impact on modern psychology. At the end of this video, you will be able to understand and explain the history of psychoanalysis and Freud's theories ranging from 1899 to present day, and how it proves to be the baseline for modern psychology using the 5 key points: Freudian revolution and the birth of psychoanalysis, critiques of Freudian theories over time, the durable impact of psychoanalysis on modern clinical psychology, Freudian theories and neuroscientific discoveries, psychoanalysis in popular culture, finally understand the historical importance of Freud's work. Speaking of which, Freud remains incredibly relevant in today's society, as his foundational theories of psychoanalysis, despite their wild claims, continue to spark conversation and curiosity for further concrete theories and research. He created the framework of modern psychology and influenced therapeutic approaches, generating insights into human behavior and the unconscious mind, thus becoming a fundamental pillar in psychology. So buckle up and come along for the ride. At the beginning to mid-20th century, Sigmund Freud changed the world of psychology by introducing psychoanalysis. His key ideas were about the unconscious mind, which he divided into the id, ego, and superego that are responsible for decision-making. The unconscious mind was also responsible for the life and death force, eros and thanatos, which Freud describes as the sexual drive for all behaviors and cognition. This continued as he later composed the 5 sexual stages of development based on unconscious childhood habits and evolution of the libido leading to sexual maturity. He also developed the Oedipus complex, which is a child's unconscious desire for the opposite sex parent and rivalry with the same sex parent. He explained that there are unnoticed interventions used by the ego to prevent psychological or emotional harm that he called defense mechanisms. Freud's therapeutic methods included free association, where patients say whatever comes to mind, and dream interpretation, where dreams reveal hidden thoughts. His ideas sparked debate in the scientific community, especially against the positivist approach, which valued only observable facts. Towards the mid to late 20th century, Freud's theories were criticized for focusing too much on the unconscious mind and early childhood experiences, while not giving enough attention to social psychology, mental health issues, individual personality traits, and moral values. Karl Popper argued that Freud's theories can't be scientific because they are impossible to refute. He said that a real scientific theory should be testable and be able to be shown as false, which was not the case with Freudian ideas. Feminist thinkers like Karen Horney criticized Freud's view of women, especially with his idea that women suffer from penis envy. Horney believed that these ideas were biased and came from male perspectives. Freud's followers, such as Carl Jung and Alfred Adler, later distanced themselves from him. Jung developed his own ideas, while Adler focused more on social influences and the drive for success. By the 2000s to the end of 2010s, modern clinical psychology adopted concepts of psychoanalysis into its practices. It was being applied to many different forms of psychotherapy, including psychodynamic psychotherapy. Psychiatry absorbed Freud's concept of neurosis and psychosis into its diagnoses of severe mental disorders. It was also evolved alongside eclectic approaches and compared with cognitive-based therapy, which is very commonly used today.
Moving along, in the 1880s, Freud worked as a neurologist as he began exploring the conditions of the mentally ill. Through the next 2 decades, Freud was rapidly making neuroscientific discoveries as to the function of the brain. He theorized that the brain was not only responsible for key biological functions, but was also operating in ways that are invisible. He proposed that the brain could influence behavior throughout the unconscious, which are cognitions that are done behind the scenes of our minds. He believed that individuals have early life experiences as well as sexual drive and unconscious thoughts and urges that are repressed in our minds due to being socially inappropriate. He believed that they could form behaviors without us realizing it. This hypothesis was groundbreaking. The psychoanalysis theory created the beginning of a framework for understanding behavior and cognition in a field that had not yet been founded. Freud's theory was responsible for understanding the unconscious, early health psychology, and childhood development. Further, Freud's work still applies in modern psychological practices. For example, neuropsychoanalysis uses Freud's theory in understanding how mental illness, chronic illness, and emotional dysregulation interacts with the unconscious mind. Next, we see that Freud's theory of psychoanalysis is one that is often reflected in popular culture through art, cinema, theater, novels, and literature. This is the case for defense mechanisms, which can be seen in Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind and the film Good Will Hunting, in which both sets of main characters unconsciously use defense mechanisms such as repression and rationalization in order to avoid dealing with strong and painful emotions. Next, we have early childhood experiences and trauma in the unconscious, which are seen in the films The Perks of Being a Wallflower and Lady Bird, which tackles teenagers dealing with either childhood trauma or sexual abuse as a child and its impact on their personalities and development. Moreover, the films Blue Velvet and Fight Club, as well as the book Catcher in the Rye, all explore the main character facing the duality of their consciousness versus unconsciousness in terms of the needs of the id, ego, and superego.
Thanks for watching!